Good evening, everybody. Kamari Ellis here. Welcome to Wealthy Wednesdays. This is the Finance Rebel Show. Finance Rebel Show on Wednesdays. Every Wednesday, we do a Q&A. It's Wealthy Q&A or Wealthy Wednesday. So we do a Q&A and answer everybody's questions. And so I'm live on IG. I'm live on Facebook. I am live on YouTube. So if you are a regular here and you get value out of this show, out of this broadcast, do me a favor. Do me a personal favor. And share this with somebody else who's looking to increase their financial IQ. Because the whole reason for the Financial Rebel Show is to increase everybody's IQ that watches. All right, so a couple folks on IG. I think I got a couple questions on IG. Chef Larry just told me he brought some stock on Cash App. And he said, I went with what I use. So what do you use, Chef? Oh, and we got Marius, Chef. We got the tag team in here. Lorraine. Shout out to Chef Larry and team. They make great food. I've had their food. I've had the privilege of having their food on numerous occasions. But you know what? You just made me think about something. And I was telling the story about some organizations, or a lot of organizations, especially in Philadelphia, that have a hard time finding Black-owned businesses. And I said, I don't know why people have such a hard time finding Black-owned businesses, i.e. good Black-owned businesses. I said, all they got to do is look. This notion that the white man's ice is colder or white businesses do better business than Black businesses is a total lie. And I don't know who told us to believe that story or who beat that story into us, but it's a total lie. It's a total fallacy. And so Chef Larry and your wife, Lorraine, I was talking about y'all because people say I'm always able to find good caterers. And I said, Black folks love to cook. There's plenty of them. You just got to open your eyes. You could literally trip across them. And so, I just said, again, this whole fallacy of Black folks not having good businesses in our community is a lie. But Chef Larry, I'm glad to see, okay, you brought Apple. You brought AT&T, you brought Nike, and you brought Walmart again. Apple, AT&T, Nike, and Walmart. So I am guessing you own you own AT&T for your cell service. You probably do a lot of shopping at Walmart. You probably buy Nike sneakers, and you probably have an iPhone or an iPad or an iPod or a MacBook. So you brought what you use. That makes sense. AT&T pays a lovely dividend. Warren Buffett says Apple is probably the best run company in the world. Nike is the number one apparel company in the world, and Walmart is the number one retailer in the world. So you got a bunch of number ones. Ma, take my picks. How are you? Thanks for joining us. I know you've been here before. Thanks for joining us again. Joe Brown Construction, how are you? Welcome, welcome, welcome. I know I have some welcomes over here. So Ms. Edith, you're on Facebook too. You're all over the place. Hola to Katia Parker, K-Tal. Muy bien. Netta Gold, shout out to Netta Gold, another fabulous, wonderful Black-owned business. Picked up some Bitcoin on Cash App. Well, I don't really promote Bitcoin, but congratulations. Congratulations on you buying some Bitcoin. Let me know how you make out with that 6 months from now. Do you believe in the new economy of Bitcoin? By the way, I do have a couple of interviews coming up on our Saturdays, on our Wealthy Saturday conversations. And one of them will be a blockchain expert coming up on a Saturday. Just need to book it. I am interested in blockchain. Blockchain is the technology or infrastructure that Bitcoin and all the other cryptocurrencies run off of. I'm more so interested in blockchain than I am any crypto, because I believe the coins will kind of come and go. Yes, Bitcoin was the first, but I don't know if it'll be the last. Oh, all right. Ms. Richards, you just shared that with some people. Latia Parker says, I need to buy some AT&T. You know what? I actually need to buy some AT&T as well. I use AT&T. They're always getting me for my money. It seems like the bill keeps going up. But they pay a wonderful dividend, and I don't think they are going anywhere anytime soon. They have plenty of money to last. I know I talked about AT&T a couple of months ago, but they got plenty of money to last. They're not going anywhere. The new merger between Sprint and T-Mobile isn't going to really affect their business that much, in my opinion. So I think they're good to go. Now, I want to go back to last Wednesday real quick, because I was totally humbled by my experience last week with the Cash App offerings and everybody submitting their money to Cash App, whether it was $2, $20, somebody gave me $100. I almost cried, y'all. I think my allergies were bothering me that day, and I'm not really a crier like that. Well, I don't know net or gold. I don't know if it's going down, but I don't have a whole lot of faith in Bitcoin. But again, going back to last Wednesday, again, I was totally honored by the gifts that everyone bestowed upon me. So I just want to take this time and give a shout out to everybody, right? So shout out to, and by the way, many of y'all gave y'all names, but I know most of you all by your social media tags. So forgive me if I don't get your social media tag. All right. So thank you to Erica. Thank you to Carl Davis. Thank you to Gary Hopkins. Thank you to Marvin. Thank you to Amy Brown. Thank you to Tangi Gilliam. Thank you to Sydney Evans. Thank you to Edith Richards for Blind Faith. Thank you, Miss Edith. Thank you to Michael Bird. Thank you to Miss Elise. Thank you to Mia Hall. Thank you to Manuel Smith. He says for Trump-inspired stimulus. I don't know what that quite means, but I thought it was funny because I don't bang with that dude like that. But I'll take his money. Thank you to Amy Johnson. Thank you to Michelle Brown for investing in our communities. Yes, it's all about the community. Thank you to Tara Colston. Tara Colston said, for don't go balling out at one place. Thank you to Daniela for I don't think we're friends. I don't think we are friends, Daniela, but hopefully we can be friends. Hopefully you're watching us. Thank you to Brandy Hayes for support, networking with Brandy, if anybody knows Brandy. Thank you to Carice Jordan. Thank you to Latia Parker. Thank you to Latia. I know Latia is on and Miss Edith is on. Thank you to Tiffany Phillips. Thank you to Cynthia Stanley. Thank you to S. Badia Austin. Thank you to Kenyatta Johnson. Thank you to People Demand Quality. Thank you to Rochelle Kelly. Thank you to Nails by Treese. Thank you to Ricky Phillips. Thank you to Jasmine. Thank you to Kirkland Henry. Thank you to Shelby Martin. Thank you to Kia. Thank you to Touch Management. Thank you to D. Lee. Thank you to Angeline Wynn. Thank you to BF and Kruma. Thank you to Christopher Smith. Thank you to Simone Crump. Thank you to Rashawn. Rashawn, I believe his name is. Thank you to Heather Taylor. And thank you to Salah Gumby and Coley Silva. So again, thank you all from the bottom of my heart. Again, we kind of did it. People are always telling me I should charge more. People are always telling me I should ask my audience for more. And I always let them know that it's not really about that. However, I was really touched because I didn't think these many people were going to come out and contribute. Wasn't a whole lot of money, like I said, $1 to $2 to $100, but it was still something that you worked hard for. You dug out of your wallets and your pocketbooks, and you gave it to me. So I appreciate it because that appreciation you showed me shows that my work actually makes a difference. And many times I do wonder, because a lot of times people listen, but they may not comment. And then I might be somewhere, or just, on a sleepy, rainy day, somebody might send me an inbox, so they might just say, thank you for that advice you gave. I took that advice and I put it to work, and it made sense and it worked for me. And so I definitely appreciate it. So let's get on with the questions. Now, every week I tell y'all I ain't staying on that long. But every week we wind up going too long. But that ain't gonna be today. All right, because I got work to do. I'm backed up. So it's just Cassie asks, how do you feel about the foreign exchange? Is it better than stocks? So it's funny. I was just talking about foreign exchange, FX, currency, many of those different monikers that it goes by. Um, Foreign exchange makes the world go round, right? Now, people need to understand what is foreign exchange. And basically, foreign exchange is just currency exchange or investing in other currencies around the world. So you can invest in the yen, you can invest in the euro, you can invest in the sterling, which is the GBP, the British pound. You can invest in the Swiss franc. You can invest in the Aussie dollar. You can invest in the Canadian dollar, which is also called the loonie. I don't think it's better or worse than stocks. What I will say is that I don't think Forex is for beginners. And most of my show and everything that I talk about, for the most part, is for beginners. Now, I worked with Wall Street firms, so I totally understand it. I see the use of it. You can actually buy Forex or currencies through ETFs. I talk about ETFs a lot. So you can invest in, let's say, the yen. One of my most successful trades of all time was when I shorted the yen. We'll talk about this story another day. But you can buy the yen. The ticker symbol is JPY, I want to say. I'm getting rusty. Ticker symbol is JP. I want to say it's JPY for the currency for that ETF. No, I'm sorry. It's FXY. It's FXY is the ETF that buys the Japanese yen. And today it is trading at $89.33. So if I'm just a regular Joe Schmo that wants to invest in Forex for the long haul, I can buy FXY. Now, typically Forex runs really fast. It can have some mighty or hefty currency cost. It's Adrian from Little Rock. But Forex can have some hefty cost, especially when you carry it overnight. You avoid all of that though when you buy it through FXY. Okay, so these questions are hilarious from my stories. I don't even know why they do them anymore. So one guy asked, "Yo, follow me and let's work. I got the heat." Well, what heat? And to be honest, I asked very specific questions. What money questions do you have? Another person asked, "Would you rather ride a bike, ride a horse, or drive a car?" I guess the bots are at work on IG. Another person says, "Let's hit six figures together. Ask me how." Well, if you had to tell me that we can hit six figures together, and then you're telling me to ask you how, that seems kind of backwards to me. I don't know. What do y'all think about those questions? Cassie, you were the only one that gave a great question on that, and I appreciate you. I appreciate you for that. Divine Dees, thank you for joining us. Food choice beyond me. All right, so Chef Larry has another question. Should I take money out of my 401k and add it to my stock portfolio? I don't know what your situation is. However, Chef, I know you've worked at all the 5-star restaurants in the Philadelphia area. And I don't believe you work anywhere else right now. So I'm going to assume, and stop me if you feel I'm putting out too much personal information. I'm going to assume that you're no longer working anywhere, because I believe it's just you and your wife that are out on your own doing business. So you're separated from service. So you can say, and I'm going to again assume that this is a 401k that was left over at an old employer. So one of the things you could do, if you don't already have it, you can set up a 401k plan at your business. You can roll over your 401k plan from your old employer, and you can roll that 401k plan into your old 401k plan into your new 401k plan. And you can do that through something called a solo 401k. And then you can control the investments through that solo 401k and invest it for your retirement, because that's what it was for when you were there. Also, there's some other ways of taking loans out if you needed to use it for business uses and things like that. And when you pay the money back, you pay the money back to your own personally owned 401k instead of someone else. But I probably would need more. Oh, okay. Okay. So, chef, but I would need more information on that just to put a period on that. And so you actually made executive chef at a university. Well, congratulations. You stay hustling. Now, let me know offline what university it is so I can come get some free grub. Because university food typically has some of the best food out there. I'm never ashamed to get a free plate. All right. Anybody else, any questions, feel free to throw them in. If you're on IG, hit the question mark box. Submit your question. I will definitely answer them. Queen on her throne, thank you for joining us. All right. I saw some questions on YouTube and Facebook as well. Let's see. Kirk, Jamaican Henry. Thank you. Janelle Cantrell from Jersey says hello. How are you? Jamar Thomas over on YouTube. Can you explain why Lyft went up today? With their bad earnings reports. I didn't look at any earnings reports today, but I am guessing. Let's see if I can look real quick. I am guessing they probably gave better guidance. Wow, Lyft was up 16.39% today for a total of $4 and ended the day at $26.12. For the record, I am not a fan of Lyft or Uber. I like Lyft better than Uber, but I am not a fan of either one. I don't see how either one of them could ever become profitable. Okay, so it says Lyft reports big Q1 sales beat, so they made more money in Q1 of 2020. They made more money than people expected, and active riders increased by 3%. So they got more people riding, more people using the service, and they made more money in Q1. So that's why. Okay, and so Lyft stock soars as sales near $1 billion despite Corona pandemic. I mean, that is impressive that Lyft was able to book profits, even though we're still in the middle of this COVID-19 epidemic. So yes, that's impressive. Very, very impressive. Now, just to give you a little tidbit about earnings reports, right? So earnings reports are just basically report cards on companies, right? They get the report cards usually every quarter, just like you used to get a report card back in the day. I'm sure I wasn't the only one that got the report card and walked home slow. This is before email came out because you was afraid you was going to get a whooping because your report card wasn't up to par. Same thing for companies these days, just like a Lyft, right? They had to report to their shareholders, which are like their parents, the owners, the people that should be responsible. And so they want to make the investors want to make sure that the company is doing right by their money that they invested in. So they do that every quarter. Now you have all these Wall Street analysts, these stock analysts that basically know everything about the company, and they have these predictions, and they say, well, I expect this company to make $1 billion or have $2 EPS. And $2 EPS basically means earnings per share, right? So when you break down all the profits and you break it down between all the shareholders, they'll say, this is how much money is made per share, right? And depending upon how many shares you might have, that's how much your stocks earned. And that $2 was just hypothetical. But sometimes a company can report totally bad numbers. On the other side of that, they have what's called guidance. And so they report the numbers, right? And so you remember when you walked home, when you got your report card, you walked home slow, and you might have got that whooping, or your parents might have just put you on punishment and just talk to you. The next question is going to be, well, what are we going to plan to do? How are we going to turn this around? And so forward guidance, same thing with the company, right? Forward guidance is, or going forward guidance is, what are you going to do with the company now with everything that's going on, whether it be global macroeconomic issues like low oil prices or super high unemployment, people not working. Like, how are you going to navigate to bring us, the investors slash parents, back a good return on our money? And so that's when they give forward guidance and they say, they're going to cut employees, raise prices, expand on their marketing. Some of the things that they come up with are pretty innovative. That's why I always say that one of the main reasons why I love the stock market is because I love business, flat out. Flat out, I love business. It's an art and a science combined. And when you watch people, let's say a Warren Buffett or Steve Jobs, they are really doing art. They are mixing science in with it, but it's really a work of art of what they're doing. And you can actually, I tell small business owners all the time, pay attention to the stock market. Again, pay attention to the stock market, because you can take some of the jewels and gems that some of these big companies drop on us through their earnings reports and their conference calls, and you can implement them in your business. All right. So just be careful with that. And so when we look at forward guidance, they may go totally different than what the market is expected, because the forward guidance is expected to be so much better. And the company is showing that they can make money year after year or quarter after quarter. So that's pretty much what happened today, Jamar. All right. Keep those questions coming, people. Keep the questions coming. Whatever. I got you. I know. Listen, I have terrible typing on these phones. I jack up everything. I have typos from everything. So it's always good. So Janelle from Jersey asked, what are you suggesting for beginners? This is my first time listening. So Janelle, give me a little bit more clarity when you say, what am I suggesting in terms of what? Because, every Wednesday is Wealthy Wednesday. So I invite people to ask me questions about any money topic, right? Just to give y'all, because you're brand new, just to give you a little bit of my background. My dad was an accountant, made me learn how to do taxes and accounting work when I was a young teen. I won't actually give y'all the real age that he forced me into this child labor abuse situation. That's just a joke, folks. But I've done that. I've been a financial advisor, a Wall Street money manager, where I get to buy stocks and bonds for client accounts. And I still do that now to this day, but I do it for myself. All right. So when you ask me that question, that's a little broad. So give me a little bit more direction, and I can hone in and knock that out the park for you. Miss Edith, you're saying hello to everybody in Little Rock. Kirk Jumakin, how do you say that, by the way? Kirk, Jewmaicam. I always jacked it up. I apologize. Kobe Cole's in the building. How you doing, Kobe? D-Lights, how are you? Miss Edith, you are on all the platforms, huh? You are multi-streaming along with me. Looks like you're on IG and Facebook. All right, so what is the reason for the market going up when all jobless claims are raising? Somebody else asked me that the other day. So jobless claims is a double-edged sword, all right? And just bear with me for a minute as I go into this. I'm going somewhere. So right now we have somewhere between 26 and 30 million people unemployed, right? We've seen a bunch of massive layoffs and furloughs ever since COVID-19 has come online. Now, that means people don't have money to spend. However, the federal government has stepped in and has given people a generous unemployment bonus of $600 in addition to what their normal unemployment benefit would be. Now, with all that said, people still have money to spend. When you see the stock market go up because of jobless claims, it's not necessarily because of jobless claims that it's going up. People are still making money. People are still spending money. There are a lot of things that are going down. But normally, when a company lays off people, their profits are usually set to go higher. And when the profits go higher, investors make more money. And so I want y'all to bear with me now. Don't beat me up because I'm about to make a statement. Many times people get mad when people lose their jobs. And I get it, because everybody needs money to put food on the table. However, at many companies, you have people that do absolutely no work. and management knows it, and then they tend to cut the fat because they always have to think about profits. Now, there's, again, a big but there. A big but there. Technology, robots, AI, many other things in the technological space has come in and made it much easier to do work without human beings as well, right? So it's much easier to lay people off now. It's not the 70s, 60s, and 50s where you actually needed somebody to turn a wrench on a car plant, on a car manufacturing line. You don't need that. We have robots for that now. So things are becoming a bit more challenging for your average everyday worker. Matter of fact, years ago, I wrote an article on Medium, and I talked about how the middle class is basically screwed, right? Because when you look at the benefits, who benefited from these stimulus? Big companies and people who are very much socioeconomically disenfranchised. Both of those people got something. Those in the middle, not so much. They're kind of left to fend for themselves. And the middle class is going to continue to be squeezed like that. And so when you look at these companies, again, when you ask why does the stock market continue to rise, there's also many other factors with that. But again, companies are going to be able to run much leaner with much less than what they've typically had in the past. So profits, again, will go up. They'll be able to continue to make money. So again, there's other factors in there. The Fed Reserve is putting money on the street, making sure banks don't go under, making sure mortgage companies don't go under. They're providing kind of what they might call a safe landing so that the economy doesn't totally tip over and fall off a cliff. And so that's, part of the other reason why jobless claims are rising, but the market is still going up. Again, it's not just one thing. It's a multitude of things. It's very nuanced. It's very, very nuanced. Ms. Edith, thank you. You started a watch party. You are with me. How you doing, Shelter Cats Adventure? Like, are you really a cat shelter? And hi, Z Vegan, how are you? I hope I said your name right. So, Kirk, I hope that answered your question, or at least gave you better clarity. Should you keep your money in a secured account? Janine asked. So, secured account, if you're talking about like a bank account that's FDIC insured, yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with keeping money in the bank. I know that I was looking at one of in my group, the Finance Rebel Academy. By the way, if you're looking to increase your financial IQ, be around people that talk about money all day long, join the Finance Rebel Academy over on Facebook. Just do a search, Finance Rebel Academy, and you come in and join, and it's free. All right. But I saw someone say that bank accounts aren't that great because the interest rates that are being paid are being eaten up by inflation. So in theory, that's true. But guess what? We don't have a whole lot of inflation right now. And we haven't had a whole lot of inflation for quite some time. So I look at bank accounts as merely holding places to stash some cash, to either invest in when you have an opportunity or to bring out your umbrella during a rainy day. So, I would, again, there's nothing wrong with a bank account. But if you're not talking about a secured bank account, just let me know what you are, and I'll definitely address that. So Jamar asked, if you started a job and started contributing to your 401k this year, then got laid off, what would you do with the money knowing that it wasn't that much? That's a trick question, right? Oftentimes 401ks have matches, so that you get a match, right? Oftentimes, employers are matching sometimes dollar for dollar up to 3% of your salary. If you made $100,000, 3% of your salary is $3,000. So, come on, Jamar, give me a little bit more. Sounds like you're trying to get at something. So just come out and ask me. If you're asking would I take the 401k money out and spend it? Again, I don't know. It depends. But give me a little bit more to go on. Janine asked, if you're investing, should you invest in mutual funds, bonds, or in gold and silver? Okay, so what you should invest in really depends on your goals and your time horizon, right? So each one of those things that you just mentioned, they all have different characteristics. They're all different types of assets. I don't like mutual funds. Let's scratch out mutual funds and let's put in ETFs. Mutual funds tend to have a lot of fees, unnecessary fees, and you could usually bypass all those fees by buying ETFs that tend to buy or invest in the same things. So let's scratch out that. Bonds, what's a bond? A bond is basically a loan, like the US government issues bonds. They're about to issue a whole lot more bonds to just keep up with society. The US government uses bonds to kind of float as a bridge to pay for all their expenses, right? So, but bonds tend not to be as explosive or volatile as stocks. So some people use bonds as kind of like a mattress to make things a little bit softer when a stock market is jumping all up and down. And so you don't have a hard landing on the floor. So it really depends. What you're talking about now is asset allocation. And I plan on doing a training on asset allocation because I plan on doing a training on 401k plans very, very soon. And people need to understand 401k plans, their 401k plans a lot better so they can manage their money. I know people are very, very scared about what's going on with their 401k and should they invest it, should they take it out, should they continue to invest, all those different things. So there's a lot going on with that. Gold and silver. Gold and silver are commodities. Again, I don't know your situation. I would say this for certain now. You can buy stocks. You can look at buying bonds. If you wanted to buy gold and silver, that's cool. But tell me, how long can you go without this money? Is this the last of your money? Is this the money for paying your bills, buying groceries, paying your car note, paying your mortgage? Or is it just money that you can go without, let's say 10 years or so without needing? All right. So, a couple of different things, but I mean, you can invest in all of them. I mean, there's people that love and buy gold all the time. There's people that love and buy gold, silver all the time, right? There's many out there right now that think silver is about to take off just because of how it's correlated with gold and what's going on with it. But it really depends. It really depends. You believe they want to eliminate the middle class? Yeah, I don't know if I would say they want to. I think it's more of just the conditions that are present in normal times. Remember, the United States still have over 5 million jobs that are unfilled. The reason why they're unfilled is because people don't have the technological skills to fill those jobs. And that's oftentimes why they go overseas and get talent from places like India, China, Pakistan, Bangladesh, places like that. So we got to start stepping up our skills so we can fill some of those jobs. Okay, so Jabbar said they got the match. Okay. So Jamar, this is going back to the 401k. Again, you're not giving me enough to go on. Yes, would you take it out and invest in stocks, ETFs, or just put it in a high yield savings account? It's really hard for me to answer that question. If you gave me more of a hypothetical, right? Like if you said, let's say, make it about you, Jamar, right? Let's just say you look like you're young. So 25-year-old man, single, ready to mingle, right? Don't go out. You're very selective about your dating process. So you save your money, right? You don't give it all to every lady that approaches you because, you're just a man. You made $100,000 a year. You got laid off. You don't know what you're going to do yet. You don't have any money invested for retirement. If you ask me for something like that, I could give you a better direction or a better indication. But listen, if they can afford it, yeah, why not invest in stocks? Stocks are like my favorite. Besides actual business ownership, I think the stock market is probably the best way to wealth creation. Again, outside of actually either owning or starting your own business, I think the stock market is probably the best way to wealth creation. I got plenty of friends that'll disagree. I'm pretty sure somebody on here will say, no, it's real estate. Okay, fine. Then it's real estate for you. But for my experience, education, and exposure, I would probably say the stocks. All right. And then, just to be totally honest, I've managed real estate, and I don't like going to fix up properties that people have defecated and urinated on. So, I'm a bit biased. But they both have great things that they can offer. My pleasure, Janine. My pleasure. Thank you for joining us. All right, Charlene Curtis asks, what are your thoughts on the airlines and cruise stocks? Dang, I wish I was Jim Crater and had a sell button. I would say stay away from airlines, stay away from cruise ships. Why? Because when are we going to fly again? Like en masse. When are airlines going to make enough money to fly, to keep these, these steel cage flying buses in the air, transporting thousands of people, if not millions of people a day, back and forth, regionally, nationally, and internationally. So I wouldn't buy any. By the way, did anybody see that Warren Buffett sold off all of his airline stocks? You wonder why. Anybody wonder why? Because he can't see where they're going to make money in the short to midterm future. And how will they come back? I.e., well, they got a bit of a bailout, but will they be filing bankruptcy? Will they be able to survive that or not? Nobody knows that, so why put the money at risk? Because then what you're doing is gambling. And I know a lot of people love to compare the stock market to gambling. There are some people in the stock market who gamble, but for the most part, when you are an investor, it is research and education based. It's not super duper hard as hard as mainstream media makes it to be or seem, but there is some intelligence that needs to be put in place. There are things that you need to do. You got to read some stuff. You got to study, right? So it's not that hard. Jamar, you're married. Dag it. Listen, I don't want no smoke. Tell a wife I was only making jokes. Listen, nobody wants to watch a money guy sit here and talk about percentages of money all day long, right? So I try to make it a little bit interesting from time to time. Just a little bit. So tell her I was only joking. I don't want no smoke. Okay, so I'm married and 30. Well, I wasn't that far off, right? You're still young. You have a 401k. This situation happened to my wife. Okay. Jamar, let's do this. Hit me up and let's talk offline. And then that way I can give you my full opinion on it. Because, again, I always have to say, where's Edith at? She's my cheerleader on this. All of the opinions of Kamari Ellis are for education and entertainment purposes only, right? Everything that I'm talking about here, again, is educational and entertainment purposes only. I don't want anybody saying that I recommended them some stock to buy something and it gets it and they hold it for like 5 days and it loses money. Again, everything I'm talking about is from a long-term perspective. So Charlene Curtis said, yes, I saw that. Why? Oh, I just told you. Warren Buffett sold because he doesn't see how they're going to make money anytime soon. I'm staying away from luxury and leisure stocks. Some luxury stocks are going to continue to make money. There are still people buying cars. There are still people buying, luxury items. You might not think so, but there are. If we go back to 2000, like 07, 08, 09, people were baffled by how much money people were spending at like a Neiman Marcus or some of the other high-end retail stores. You'll be amazed. But now I think about it as I say that, right? Many of the retailers are in trouble, right? We saw J. Crew is about to file bankruptcy. They're expecting Neiman Marcus to file bankruptcy. So, it's hard out here. They're expecting Macy's to potentially file bankruptcy as well. So it's hard out here. It's hard out here. All right, IG, I see you got some questions over there. I'm coming right back. All right, Janine, what publications would you suggest that a beginning investor read on a daily basis? So I would suggest all beginning investors to read USA Today, the money section. Start there reading some of the articles. Once you get there and you feel like you're strong, Start reading the Wall Street Journal. Start reading the Wall Street Journal. And so you can do that now. And a lot of these publications are already online. And a lot of them are having sales right now. So take advantage of them. I brought some from my son's account. What did you buy again, Kurt? I missed it. Tell me what you brought, Kurt. All right, I'm good. Yeah, I don't want no smoke with the misses. Listen, if you're not good with the misses, you are trash. You are dirt. You can never live again. I got homies who, well, I can't say me. All my homies' wives love me. I'll say this though. I got some homies who wives don't like some of my people, my friends, and they don't let their husbands hang out with some of my other friends. Yes, Jamar, you can definitely contact me. Do this, right? So I always tell people they can send me questions at 484-278-1357. Again, 484-278-1357. Just send me a text, let me know who you are, and ask your questions. And if I have time, I'll even call you. But Jamar, we can definitely set up a time to talk. Because you're one of my day ones. You here all the time. So I appreciate you being here. I appreciate you sewing into the community. All right, then you said, do you teach classes for young children? This is an education that our children need. I ask this because I'm an educator. I would love for you to come to my school. I would love to come to your school. Yes, I do that. At some point, I plan on doing a summer day camp. That might be sooner than later, but I was planning on working on it for the summer. But COVID-19 is throwing a monkey wrench in that. I go to schools all the time and talk to the youth. But yeah, I'm actually looking to set up a whole program. Now, I'm going to say this. I get a lot of parents that ask me, what is the best way to teach my children about money? Well, the best way to teach your children about money is you learn about money and you model and exhibit good money behaviors with your children. All right. So, be mindful of that. Be mindful of that. Yes, Miss Edith, entertainment, education purpose. I'm going to leave that up for a minute. Virtual camp. Maybe I've been thinking about it, but I know I'm doing this with y'all now. I can't tell you how long it took me to be comfortable doing this because I started out on radio. By the way, when I started on radio, I was scared as hell too, but that's a whole other story. But children are different, right? I mean, I guess if you had some of the older ones, and as long as it was truly engaging, but I never want to bore anybody, especially a child. Like if you bore a child, you're trash. You're going to them forever. There's no coming back from that. Y'all, if I give y'all a halfway decent stock idea, you might come back. You might say, that guy is boring as paint drying, but he gives some good information. Kids ain't that forgiving, and they will trash you forever, and you will never forget about it. How do you feel about renewable energy, green energy? It's on the come up. It's on the rise. It's becoming cheaper and cheaper. I think I talked about renewables last week. I was saying that some of the oil companies, I think they will survive because the oil industry, for the most part, is dying. But the ones I feel that will survive are the ones that are best positioned in renewables. Solar, water, wind, electric, all of those, I think, will be positioned to do very, very well. Alakan, how you doing? I think I just saw you. KMBM 251, how are you? All right, so hold on, folks. We're going to go back to IG. I don't want them feeling neglected. All right, so Ms. Parker said, at what point do you decide to sell a stock that is losing money or have gained a nice profit? That is a wonderful question. So anytime you buy a stock, you should automatically have your exit mapped out. Now, it doesn't mean that you sell as soon as it happens. Like you see people talk about stop loss orders and things like that. Stop loss orders are good, but sometimes stop loss orders, how can I say this, aren't a good indication, right? And so sometimes you can do a stop loss order and you can come in and let's say, I don't know, you brought AT&T and there was some kind of flash crash like we've seen before in the past, and that the stock market falls, everything falls, your stop loss order triggers, right? And your exit out of that stock. And then the stock comes back and it bounces way back above where it was already at. So you missed out because you had this automatic trigger already set up to go. So some of the things I look at it is have exit strategies. One thing I look at, right, when we look at a company is how good is management? And you notice how good management is over time, right? Like, so Apple, when Steve Jobs was around, Tim Cook was his COO. Tim Cook actually engineered and did a lot of great things after Steve Jobs left. And so I never really worried about Apple having a problem because I believe in Steve Jobs. Plus, Steve Jobs never really actually created anything. What he did was he was able to coordinate people and get them to do great work. But a lot of the brain power was still at Apple after Steve Jobs had transitioned, right? So again, no diss to Steve Jobs. He's a very complicated person. I actually think Steve Jobs is probably the most successful CEO of this era, or of the era that he was in. I don't know which one is the right one, but you should be looking at things, qualitative things. And you also should know why you're into the investment, right? So the other point you said, or have gained a nice profit. So story, I'll tell you all, I got some notoriety on social media, wink, wink, on social media because I called Tilray. Tilray is a marijuana company that IPO'd a while ago. And I have a couple clients that are on IG that followed my guidance or followed my recommendation. And then they shared it. And then a bunch of people started to discover me on IG and a couple other platforms. I still have relatively small friend base in these socials. But that's how I got to like 1,000 people. So I think now like maybe 5,000, 6,000. I forget exactly where I am. But I saw that the company I brought in initially at $22. I brought it at $22. This stock shot up to $300 in like 3 months or something like that. I covered, or I sold off my original purchase price at roughly 122. So from $22 to $124, that was all profit. And that paid for my investment. And so I kept the rest, but I pocketed that and I kept the rest to keep going. That stock had already went to $300. And people were like, well, why didn't you sell it all? Because I believe it's a 10-year hold. And I think what you're going through right now is a clips. But it met my profit margin. It met my profit goal. It far exceeded my profit goal. So I said, let me take this opportunity. Matter of fact, I tell people all the time, I got lucky on that. Just to keep it 100% funky, I got lucky on that stock because I wasn't expecting it to pop like that. But it was the first stock in Canada that was able to go public like that. And Canada just went online to make marijuana legal for recreational use. And so the market got very, very excited. It's actually a great case study to show how excited the market can get. It can inflate a stock where it shouldn't be inflated. And then it will just like let the stock die off and jump off of a cliff to never be seen again. Because like right now, Tilray is trading at like $7 or something like that. Maybe $8 right now. So, but I sold off half of my position because that's what I knew I wanted to do. Again, I didn't know it was going to happen that fast. I can sit here and say that I wish I would have waited to like 270, 300, but that's just being greedy. I made over 5 times my investment in less than a month, maybe less than 2 months. I got to go back and review the trade. But you should have some objectives. You should kind of have an idea where you think it's going to go. And it'll take some time to develop that. And that's part of the reason why I also encourage people to to invest for the long haul. But I'm glad you said that because I'm working on something. So I'll definitely be able to give you all better, a more descriptive exit strategy. You can do it on price, right? So my traders, my day traders, my swing traders, they tend to exit based on price, either up or down, right? If they made their profit objective, they're out. So if they say, you know what, there's a stock I'm trading and I'm buying at $50. I think the best exit is at $55. It's a 10% increase. They'll do that all day long or all month long, and they still get money. And then the other way they'll look at it and say is that, all right, I want to protect my downside. I don't want to lose a whole lot of money. So they might have a stop loss order in, like I talked about earlier. And then they'll say, if it goes down by, let's say, 2.5%, I'm out. I'm automatically out. And that's how they do that from a more systematic place. Also, how do you go about writing off losses tax time from stocks? Oh, great question. I think you are the very first person on this live to ask about taxes and investments. Gold star from Ms. Parker, because everybody should be thinking about taxes as it relates to any investment or business endeavor that they partake in. And so, actually, you know what, I've been meaning to do a video on tax loss harvesting. And what tax loss harvesting is let's say all these companies that have lost money this year, right? Remember, the stock market was down roughly 30% year to date. Then we had a bounce of about 20%. So now we're down about 10%. I didn't look at the close today. So when those stocks were down 10%, and let's say you didn't believe in them anymore, you could have sold them off, right? You could have sold them off, and then you could have brought them back. So let's say, I don't know, pick a stock. Let's say AT&T. You talked about AT&T earlier. You could have saw AT&T fall. You say, you know what, I don't believe in AT&T anymore. And then you could have seen it starting to come back. And you said, you know what, I believe in AT&T again. You still be able to write off that loss on your taxes, or write off the loss on your tax return come tax time. So melanated Alton, how are you, sir? So, that's something you should always be thinking about. Panda Put, I just gave you a shout out earlier, as I thanked everybody that gave me money last week via my Cash App. Asia Claire, how are you? Thank you for joining us. AEL, isn't AEL American Airlines? I think that's what AEL is. Yeah, all airline stocks are doing terrible. Don't people say, all right, so Alton asks, don't people say sticks are the best? And I don't think they said, like the majority of most of the top richest people, the nation. Oh, okay. Don't people say stocks are the best? So you must have heard my statement about wealth creation. Now, believe it or not, a lot of people say real estate are best. A lot of people love their real estate. And I get it. They can touch it. They can feel it. They can smell it, right? People love their bricks. I get it. But yeah, a lot of the nation's top richest people come from 401k plans, right? If you work every day, you can still become rich and amass wealth through a 401k plan. There's a lot of people out in the marketplace right now. I call them the Guru Wealth Squad. I don't have a whole lot of love for them, but they out there and people attract to them because they're sexy, they're exciting, I guess. Oops. What happened? Oh, cancel. What happened? Uh-oh, I think my live ended. Did my live end? I think my live ended. All right, bear with me, folks. Bear with me 1 second. Oh, man. That was crazy. I didn't realize we were at that point. So any other questions over here? On the Facebook side? On the YouTube side? Let's see. Carol Allen, how are you? I believe you were here with us last week. I hope he sees your comment. It's a new world. Maybe a Zoom or microphone seems wrong with kids. Yeah, maybe. Maybe. But I don't teach. So I'll say this. I don't believe in all my years of study and work in finance, I don't believe as the way that most people believe about financial education, what they call financial literacy. I think I did my my rant about financial literacy and how I hate that term. But most people don't believe in financial education the same way I do, right? That's part of the reason why I am, the finance rebel, if you see the shirt. Because I look at more of the stuff that's been done by the wealthy, right? To get to wealth, not doing what they did. Like, we talk a lot about multiple streams of income. That's a diversification strategy, right? Many people believe that that's how people get rich. It's not how people get rich. They get rich by typically focusing on one thing and exploiting the hell out of that one thing. But all the people out here are showing or quote unquote teaching that multiple streams of income makes you rich. No, it really doesn't. And when I say multiple streams of income, I'm not talking about people who have a business, right? And they might add on another business line. So, right, the majority of my business right now comes through taxes, right? But if I start doing financial planning in my business, which I am more than capable of doing, that's another add-on to my business. It's not necessarily another multiple stream of income in the way that it's preached in these social media streets. But, everybody loves it. Everybody swears by it. So, who am I? Little old me who's only worked 20 plus years in finance with everybody from people that have had $5 in net worth or actually $500 in a negative net worth to people with well over $25 million in net worth. So, I don't know enough, I guess, to qualify in that realm. I guess I ain't sexy enough. I gotta promise y'all some things to get y'all to drink the red wine or the Kool-Aid, and I ain't doing that. But I'm being facetious, folks. So Carol Allen, thanks for coming in late. How do I feel about Gilead Sciences? I, for the most part, don't really follow pharmaceutical drugs for a couple of reasons why. So like Gilead is getting all this press right now because Gilead started making their COVID serum or COVID vaccination a while ago. Doesn't have FDA regulation, right? So any pharmacy that's on the market, it has to have FDA approval. They applied for some kind of special FDA approval because of the national pandemic, and they released it, and it's having Dr. Fauci, right? This isn't me. This is Dr. Fauci. I know when I'm out of my depth. Dr. Fauci said that this drug is having minimal response at best. At best, it's having minimal response at best. So Gilead might be popping right now. I have to go and look and see what else is in the whole Gilead drug portfolio. But they're okay. I don't really have an opinion on them per se because I haven't really studied them. And again, I just kind of told you I'm kind of biased towards pharma because I can't tell where farmers want to go from year to year. And then pharma is subject to all these patents. And when drugs come out, patents, everybody can then give you the knockoff drug. And so it's for me, again, I haven't put a whole lot of work into it either, but it's hard to really tell where the value is going to come in at on a pharmaceutical. Maybe what I'll do is I'll try to find somebody that I find that I respect in pharma that can kind of talk about the stock. All right, Melanie Alta says, can you touch on mutual bonds? I don't know what a mutual bond is. Are you talking about mutual funds, Alan? I've heard that when a stock market is bad, that is a good time to buy bonds. Is there some validity to that? I would say when the stock market is about to go bad, it's a great time to buy bonds because bonds move typically, not always, but bonds typically move in the opposite direction of stocks, if we're talking generally. When bond prices go down, stock prices tend to rise, and vice versa. Bonds can be good, and there's all different kinds of bonds. You have government bonds that are 2-year, 10-year, 30-year. You have corporate bonds, right, for investment grade companies. Those are the companies that have the best credit scores, right? Yes, companies do have credit scores. There is a junk bond for corporations, right? Just like there are subprime mortgages for people with bad credit. It's kind of the same thing. They tend to pay a higher interest rate than your investment grade bond. So it kind of works very much the same way. But again, it really depends. It really depends on what you're trying to do. If you want an asset allocation, that means a mix of different investments that complement you, so you don't have a rocky road or a roller coaster ride with your stocks and everything else. They kind of provide the cushion. Earlier I said they're like the mattress in investments. Well, I would say bonds are kind of like the shocks in a car, right? When you get a big pothole and it goes bam, and your car bounces and you think everything just died and you want to cry because you think you've been your rim. Well, I live in Philly. We got terrible potholes, but again, I digress. So that helps you not bend your rim and not mess with your car and everything else. It makes the ride a lot smoother when it comes to investing. So let's say back to my SB and YG people. Are you having this convo every week? I love listening about financial literacy. Well, I'm here every week. I do Wealthy Wednesdays every week. Or I thought you knew that already. I'm sure you do know it. So I hope I'm answering the question right, because you're here with me almost every week. Do I talk about financial literacy per se? Sometimes if it comes up, it really depends. It really depends. I try not to be too dogmatic, right? Because I know that's the new nomenclature, the new saying of today. So everybody is now a financial literacy expert. I guess my problem with financial literacy and the way it's treated or taught from a general standpoint, right? Not calling no names out, but financial literacy tends to teach you how to be a better consumer. We don't need to be better consumers. Consumers run 67% of the U.S. economy. Being consumerism, not all of it, but in large part, is due to why there's such a wide inequality, or why there's such inequalities in the systems. A lot of it is systemic, don't get me wrong, but a lot of it we do have our control and power over it. Nobody makes you go out to lunch every day of the week and spend $5 to $10. Right. If y'all remember when I've been talking about stocks a lot, but I've been really pushing it because I'm seeing people spend money at Starbucks, right? And I confess that I go to Starbucks. Instead of me buying Starbucks coffee, I can buy Starbucks stock. So right there, I am making a conscious decision to not buy Starbucks stock, but instead buy an asset. Doesn't matter if it's $1 billion, $500,000, $50,000, or just $5. Right now, you have the opportunity of doing that. And by the way, I gave somebody an update on my Amazon purchase, right? I bought $10 worth of Amazon stock. It's a stock that's like $1,700. I bought $10 worth in November. I think it was like November 18th. Now my Amazon stock is worth $13.55. So that's a return of over 30% in what, 6 months? Where they do that at? Not in the bank. Where else can you get that benefit? If I would have spent that money just buying Amazon stuff, would I have gotten that kind of return? Wanda, how are you? Thank you for joining us tonight. Robert Lewis, Lindsay USA, that's my mortgage guy right there. Y'all, everybody go follow Robert. Y'all see, I bring Robert on from time to time to tell us what's going on in the mortgage market. But just looking up Amazon, like I said, I put $10 in it, right? I just took the money I was going to spend on Amazon shipping and purchases, and I bought the stock. Oh, I was off. Amazon right now is $23.45, $2,345. Right? So why not take some of these smaller purchases? Ben Franklin said a penny saved is a penny earned. Well, gosh darn it, a penny invested is also a penny earned or a penny invested as well. So why just go to spend? So that's, again, my issue with financial literacy. We need to teach more people how to be wealthy. And yes, it's a mindset and it's a whole lot of other things. But if all you're doing is teaching them how to write a check, how to get good credit, how to open up a bank account, again, just to buy something, whether it be a house, a car, get a credit card, I think it's upside down. Cam Swaggo, thank you for joining us. Cam Swagmo, that's what it is, Cam Swagmo. I like that. So, again, if that's what your world is about, you're always going to have haves and have-nots. Now, I do believe you're always going to have haves and have-nots, but we can close that gap. So instead of, 1 out of 5 being a have-not, maybe we could have 1 out of 4 just by changing some of their spending habits, putting some of the money into better use, making better decisions, which will then allow them to have better opportunities. A lot of times people are a have-not because they didn't position themselves to become a have. I don't know if that makes sense. Many people are in the position they are. Many of the have-nots are in the position they're in right now because they didn't do a good enough job positioning themselves to be a have. Again, I'm not judging anybody. If y'all really got to know my story, y'all will see that I've been through some stuff. And I believe in everybody. But again, ain't nobody coming to save us. So you got to start with you. Like if it's $1, again, if old man, some good OG wisdom, he said, try to save 20%, not 10%, 20% of everything you make. And if you can't do that, say $5. Say $5 everything you get. And then when the time comes, you'll have a nest egg where you can have an opportunity to buy some assets that will either generate more income for you or that will have an opportunity to increase in price. Screw the norm, don't conform. How are you? Yeah, Melody. I think Amazon was 17. I think it might have went to 15. I got to go back and look. So, that's the thing. Let's see. We hit that. I shared this session to my private page so that my friends can listen and learn too. You will see me again, and I will have some informed questions. I plan on reading those publications that you mentioned. Hey, follow my page as well, Janine. I talk about a lot of the stuff in there. Come join the Financial Rebel Academy as well. I'm in there pretty often, and I try to answer questions as best as possible as well. Yeah, I think Dr. Fauci might have said that last week. He might have said that last week. MP London, thanks for joining us. Oh, I didn't know that. Don't buy I bonds. Their fixed interest rate just fell to 0%. I believe that. I believe it though. I'm not really keen. Like, it's funny when I talk to just regular everyday people and I bring up the term bond, they think of I bonds or E bonds or triple E bonds, like the bonds Nana and my mom and Pop used to get us back in the day. But I'm talking about a different kind of bond. I'm talking about these are the more expensive bonds to get. And I'm not a big fan of the E bonds or I bonds anymore. I feel you can get a better bang for your buck in the stock market, even if you just brought a basic ETF that tracks the market, right? So, our grandparents, they believed in legacy. They believed in education. So a lot of times they still do. And so a lot of times they would buy those E-bonds, those triple E bonds to put towards the baby's education, college or whatever it may be. And so if you're buying a baby, brand new child that's born, they got 17 to 18 years to invest, right? I'd say it's better to buy an ETF that tracks the market as opposed to buying I bonds. I don't see how that happens. Yeah, Alton, definitely 20%. Listen, if you can live off 50% of your money, that's better. Um, if you can do that, the least amount of money you can save, the more money you have to invest. The game is investment. I don't care if it's in your business, in real estate, or in the stock market. The more you can take your money and invest, put it into things that appreciate and value. I'm not going to do my Ving Rhames impersonation today. I got to work on that a little bit more. But the more you can put money into things that appreciate and value, the better opportunity you will have to make more money, right? Because after a while, it's like snow and you get the snowball effect. So you start to accumulate, like if anybody understands compound interest, it's a snowball effect, but you need money to get it going. And then as, let's say 1 year, let's say you're getting 10%, you got to put $100 in the bank. So the next year you got $110. And then that $110 gets another 10%. And so now you got like $121 the year of two. You started with $100 though, but now it's growing at a clip of 10% every year on the amount that is in the bank, not the original amount. So if you ever go back and look at some of the things that Ben Franklin did, Ben Franklin left, I want to say it was, he left $1,000 to Philadelphia, my hometown, Philadelphia, where I was born and raised. $1,000 to Philadelphia and $1,000 to Boston. It grew to several $1 million. I think Philly might have taken their money out sooner than Boston, but he mandated that they keep it in there for at least, I want to say 100 years, because he knew at the end of 100 years that it was going to be some serious cake inside of those funds. All right. That's a good call, Carol. Thank you for that. Do I believe in platforms like Acorns and Stash for newbies? Yes. I use Acorns. I still have not tested out Stash yet. I am loving Cash App right now, though, because it's so convenient. It's a little bit different than Acorns or Stash. I'm not sure if Stash is all like mutual funds and ETFs, because Acorns, they direct the money for you. So I'll use Acorns kind of like a glorified or super hyped up savings account on steroids. And you can put your leftover change from transactions in Acorns, and then you can also add additional money every month. And it's got some other features in there that are pretty good too. But I like Cash App, right? Because I want people to know where their money is going, and I want them directed from the get-go. Because to me, and again, I'm not talking about any large amounts of money. I'm talking about small money. Hey, Ray Pryor. Hey, BMW 90. I thought I saw somebody else on. Hey, We Bill Black. How are you? I want them to start getting practice in buying stocks right away. Because if they make a mistake on a $25 transaction, it's way better than making a mistake on a $25,000 transaction, right? So now you can learn, right? You might lose some money. You might gain some money. But now you can learn, and you can put that money to use. And now you're putting your money in a position of opportunity to make more money. Where had you spent it on Starbucks, it just satisfied your coffee need for a few minutes, and then after that, it was gone. Have you read Dr. Claude Anderson's book? I haven't read the book, but I watched several videos. I actually had the great opportunity to participate with Dr. Anderson in a program that was put on in Philadelphia over 10 years ago. This is when he was talking about having the fish manufacturing plant. I think it was in Detroit. But I love a lot of what Dr. Anderson says. If anybody has a chance, check out some of his videos on YouTube. I love the wealth blueprint. Now, the one thing it's not that I disagree with him. I think you have to update it for the times, but he says that media companies is like floor 5 or something like that. But guess what? It's 2020. I'm doing media right now. So I didn't have to wait till then. And so we can look at that a little bit differently. I don't necessarily agree with it with politics about waiting to that. I think politics is something we have to be more invested in from the get-go, because politics is what really controls the wealth. Politics can shut down a business with a pen stroke. And anytime you don't have your people there to represent you, you won't get represented. It's really as simple as that. But again, I love what Dr. Anderson brings to the table I'm thankful for him. And I still study his stuff to this very day. So please don't take what I'm saying as this. I don't even have, I am not in a position to diss Dr. Anderson, right? I ain't done enough work. I haven't carried enough water to diss that man at all. I'm just letting you know what my opinion is of some of the things that he's laid out. Obadiah, how you doing? Rotodoc, how you doing? Rotodoc, are you a plumber? Oops. Why does my thing keep changing? I don't know why it's doing that. Sister Tyler. So yeah, I've read that. Listen, Carol Allen, if you are a slave, and let's not use that term, right? But if you are heavily dependent on Prime shipping, yeah, you need to invest in Amazon. Go buy you $10 worth today, sis. Ray Pryor says, I'm a middle school teacher trying to teach my kids how to invest. Any tips on where to start with them? So one of the things that I do, and there's a video on my Facebook page, but there's a video on my Facebook page. I like to give gifts. I like to give stocks as gifts to youth as much as possible. And so there is a video on there with Kim Avant Bab illustrating a story that she brought her granddaughter. She brought her granddaughter a share of Nike stock for her either 13th or 14th birthday. And she got very excited. And she understood it from the get-go. And she understood it was about ownership. I like to give stocks just for our people or just for our children to understand ownership. Because everything else is about consumerism. Nothing is about ownership. And so from just that alone. And there is a gentleman by the name of, so again, birthdays, Christmas, any other holidays that you might partake in, give your children stocks as gifts. And you can do that. I'm trying to think. Stockpile allows you to do like stock gift certificates. So that's one thing you can do with them. And then the other thing is you can just really just start talking to them about money. I forgot what grade you said they were in. Okay, you know what? So Ray Pryor, I apologize. I think I misread that. So I was taking it that you were talking about your own personal biological children. I think you're talking about the children in your classroom. And so if that's the case, what I would do is I would do like a stock competition. So I would start talking to them about stock and how it comes to be and what it is and how it's just basically a business where somebody has an idea and they use the stock market to raise money to help expand their company. And then you could start having like stock market competitions and giving them some type of prize. Maybe even giving them a stock and maybe like a monetary gift as well. Now, Ray Pryor the fourth do you teach fourth grade or what grade are you teaching? Because that will vary. Melanie Alton says, definitely thankful for Dr. Anderson. Wish they had him on these Black economy panels that they've been having. Yeah, I like seeing Dr. Anderson. He was just on the Breakfast Club. 6th grade last year. Okay, yeah. I would do maybe try to get some of the local businesses involved. I'm not sure where you're at, but you could definitely teach them the stock market. There's some curriculums out there too. I need to look them up. I haven't seen them in a while, but there's some curriculums out there as well that you could use. But I would do a contest, and so they can win something. Stock would be one of the gifts. You know, you'd have a first, second, and third prize. Maybe you give them $20 or something. I know teachers don't get treated with the proper respect, so I know it's hard to just say I'm coming out my pocket to give these youth a big prize. But maybe you could do something to get other parents or maybe some type of fundraiser and put it all together. But I want to hear about that. Yeah, anytime. I mean, I go to school. There's been a couple times where I put out the schools where I wanted to start a business/stock investment club. Only one kind of bid on it, but then they wound up leaving, and so I couldn't do it. But I might come back to it. I might come back to it. Brands. Hello. I hope I didn't mess up your name too bad. All right, I see I got a couple more. I'm getting off in 10 minutes. 10 minutes. All right. MP London. How are you? Thank you for joining. You asked thoughts on digital currencies. I just talked about earlier today. I'm going to interview somebody talking about Bitcoin. Digital currencies are cool. I don't think digital currencies are really ever going to get the sachet or the props that everybody thinks they're going to get, unless it's government backed, and then it kind of defeats the purpose of everything else. It defeats the purpose of what digital and Bitcoin was for in the first place, because they didn't want to have it centralized and controlled. So, I don't know. That's my thought. I've been called a Bitcoin hater, just full transparency. When Bitcoin was at its heights at almost $20,000, I think that was like two years ago in December. I told folks it was not a good time to buy that. I suggested to people buy stock instead, because stock actually has real value. Bitcoin does not. The value is derived from basically people's perception of it, just like gold and diamonds and anything else. But at least stock and their companies actually make money. Coca-Cola makes money. You might not agree with it. You might not agree with the product. You might not agree with the health issues with the product, but it makes money, right? Supermarkets that are publicly traded make money. They have value to them. They create something of value. So, I'm not a Bitcoin downer, because I do believe in, or should I say cryptocurrency downer, because I do believe in certain economies, like some places in Southeast Asia, some places in South America, it might make more sense to have a Bitcoin or digital currency type of situation in place instead of their currency, only because their currency has been devalued so hard and has been hit by inflation and many other things. Like you see that right now in Venezuela. Are the publications you mentioned on your sometimes I share stuff from them, but you know what, Carol, I think I want to write this down so I don't forget it. But what I'm going to do, Carol, is I'm going to do a whole video on best publications for beginning stock investors. All right, will that make you happy? Will you be my bestie, my BFF then if I do that? Leo Lady, how are you? Thank you for joining us. All right, we only got a couple more seconds, a couple more minutes. Dr. Anderson is the GOAT. I got Black Labor, White Wealth as well. Yep. I didn't read that either, but again, I watched several videos on it. I think I tried to buy it. It was like out of stock or something like that. What brokerage firm do you use where you can invest so little in a stock that has a stock price? Cash App. That's what I use, Carol. Cash App. I have a Robinhood account too, and accounts other places, but the account I suggest everybody to use is Cash App. Cash App. Carice One says, is stockpile better for getting the kids, getting the stocks for the kids versus TD Ameritrade? I just started reading, and they stated TD Ameritrade, but not sure which is better to look at for kids. It really depends on what you're trying to do, because when you give it stockpile, what they're basically doing is you're giving a gift certificate Shy West Brand, how are you? Thanks for joining us. I hope I said your name right. Forgive me. Please forgive me if I didn't. But essentially what they're doing is they're creating what's called a UGMA account or UGMA account or a uniform transfer to minors act type account. Don't ask me what that means, right? It just means these are the accounts for the kids. You can invest money into them now. The kiddies get it. They get control or access of that money at either 18 or 21. And that's what Stockpile is doing. And so you could do the same thing at any brokerage account. Stockpile, again, just gives out gift certificates. So it's a little fancy. It's a little fancy. But at the end of the day, in my opinion, you can have your own account. You buy stocks for them, and it could just be for them, allocated for them. But yeah, I would say get one of those accounts and start putting money aside for your children. Make them get involved in the process as well. And you know, I would rock from there. Get them involved in the process as well. What's the difference between a custodial account and a 529 plan? A 529 is actually part of the tax code. And 529s are specifically designed for school. Before the tax law changed, it was only for college, right? Paying for costs associated with college. Now you can use 529 plans for college and private K through 12. Custodial account can be used for whatever you want it to be. And it's not necessarily, there's no ramifications if your child chooses not to go to college, or if you choose not to send your child to private school. So there's a little bit more flexibility with this custodial account, but there's more tax advantage with the 529. You really just have to weigh it out to see which one is better for you. But Jamar already told you to hit me up. We could definitely talk about that as well. Lamont Harris, how are you today, sir? Welcome, welcome, welcome. All right, I saw a question. No, you're trying to get all of my business, bro. All right, so he says, Kamari, in your book collection, what's some of your top reads? By the way, I just got Color of Law. You the man, you got Color of Law. So when you finish Color of Law, I want to have a bunch of people want to talk about the Color of Law. I think I talked about this book last week, How Money Works. I think everybody should get this book. It's a great read. It explains to you about the different systems, because if anybody's going to become a really, really good investor, you're going to have to understand the whole circle of money, the whole circle of finance. Everything from finance and Forex, everything from governmental monetary policy, everything from fiscal policy, everything regarding economics. Now, listen, I know it might sound a little daunting. It might, but it's not. It's not daunting. If you really serious about getting the bag, you got to be about learning about the bag and what's in the bag. But this is the bag. And also to answer your question, some of my favorite books, I usually do YouTube reviews on them. Black Titan is another one that I love. It's about a gentleman that became a millionaire, a black man that became a millionaire during Jim Crow from Alabama. His name is A.G. Gastons. Man even bailed out Martin Luther King from jail during civil rights. That's one of my favorites. I just ordered today. It's a book about Ida B. Wells. I'm a big Karen Hunter fan. And so Karen Hunter had Dr. Greg Carr on there. Dr. Greg Carr is a G, by the way. I'm very much into our history. And Dr. Carr, who was a professor at Howard, very much talks about it. I want to say it's called the Memphis Diaries about Ida B. Wells or something like that. But Ida B. Wells, definitely G2, was all about economic empowerment. And so definitely somebody I want to research. But speaking about that, right, because it was about Memphis, another book I did a review on, it's called Black Fortunes by Shamari Willis. And that highlights the first, it's either 6 or 7 blacks that became millionaires out of slavery. And in that book, they actually talk about Annie Malone and Madam C.J. Walker. And they, because a lot of people believe Madam C.J. Walker was the first black woman billionaire, but Annie Malone actually had more money than Madam C.J. Walker and was a millionaire before her. But it illustrates a whole lot of stories about it. It also illustrates a story about a gentleman in Memphis, right? Going back to Ida B. Wells, a gentleman in Memphis, I want to say his name was Robert Church. I might have that wrong, but I want to say his name is Robert Church. The guy brought up a bunch of land in Memphis when there was a plague, oddly enough, right? Brought up a bunch of land in Memphis when there was a plague. He owned a large portion of downtown, but faced all kinds of adversity. And so he basically bailed Memphis out. But he actually funded Ida B. Wells as well. So it's like all this stuff kind of intertwines and interchanges, and it's very deep. It's very fascinating. So the title, A Diamond in the Rough, is Black Titans by A.J. Gaston's. Black Fortunes by Shamari Willis, I believe his name. Yeah, I love books. I love information. I believe, how they say you are what you eat. Well, you are what you read. You are what you listen to. You are what you think about. And all of these inputs help to frame and shape your mental, your mindset. So I think you always got to be very intentional about it. There's a saying I tell my son, I always tell him to protect your mind and guard your spirit. Always protect your mind and guard your spirit. Again, not getting super woo-woo, but I don't believe in demons and the devil in the way that most people do, but I do believe there are things out there that will attack your spirit through your mind, right? And will change that can change the whole direction of your life if you're not careful. So I'm just looking to see if there's any more questions. I'm about to wrap up. I got to eat. I got money to make, clients to make happy. Mr. Perfect, how are you? Yeah. Oh, yes. Thank you. Thank you, Edith. You be holding me down, Edith. I appreciate you. I think you over there vying for a job. I got to find some money for you. The Color of Law and How Money Works are the two other ones. Yes. And maybe I'll even do a review on The Color of Money. I mean, not the color. Well, yes, The Color of Money as well, but How Money Works. Because again, it gives a lot of graphics. It's a lot of things. I think it was it Ray Pryor that asked earlier about the kids? I think, Ray, this could be a good book. You could do a whole syllabus and you can do a whole lesson plan around this book to teach to your sixth graders. And I think there's enough pictures and you can make it relevant enough to them that could go pretty deep as well if you want to teach them about the stock market and money. All right, Carol. Cash App, I thought, was something for kids. My nephew sent. Yes. So your nephews can send each other money, right? Now, you do have to be, I want to say 18 years old to buy stock and use their brokerage option. However, you can buy Bitcoin on there. Netter Gold was on there. So for all my people that are on YouTube, go check out Netter Gold. He makes some phenomenal products, hair care, skincare products, whether it's soap. So we shouldn't have to worry about people disrespecting us with their soap, right? We have people that you can buy soap from. They're on there, Netter Gold, NETERGOLD. They're on Facebook. Check them out. And they sell a whole bunch of other stuff. But he brought Bitcoin through Cash App. I even have I brought $20 worth of Cash App. Excuse me. I brought $20 worth of Bitcoin via Cash App. I think it's down to like $18. At one point, it went up to like $22 a couple months ago when the stock market was in disarray. Because now, when people see the stock market's down, they like to buy Bitcoin and gold and the Japanese yen and government bonds, amongst other things. But yeah, they can use it as well. I don't know how old they are, Carol, but they can use it as well. And Cash App is for adults. It's for anybody. You can transfer money. You can accept business payments through Cash App. I believe in business. I try to make payment frictionless, painless. So when my clients need to pay me, you can pay me whatever way you want to pay me. PayPal, Cash App, invoice, credit card. If you got it, I got it. I take it. That's my philosophy. Yes, Ida was a writer. Show Enough was a writer. Show Enough. I just watched an interview again with Karen Hunter and Dr. Greg Carr, and they talked about Ida. And then they went further to talk about the significance of Black women and the feminist movement. For example, hyphenating names. Black women were the first to be the ones hyphenating names. I know this is about money. My talks about money. I don't want me to get too political, too much history, but I think that's interesting, right? Because anytime we're thinking about money, right, you got to think about women and women's empowerment, because money is supposed to help equalize the community, help to increase the standard of living for people, in my mind anyway. That's why I talk about it. I'm not talking about it to buy jewelry or get flashy cars or, fashion design clothing. I could care less about those things. I'm thinking about the overall standard of living in my community. And so there are definitely ties to yes, thank you, Edith. Like, as women rise, they become the great equalizers. So as their money rise, it's been studied and says that when women get more money, the family tends to get more money. When dudes get money, well, y'all know what happens to that, right? Kirk Keys, how are you, sir? So, Edith, you bought $10 worth of Amazon. My hero. You go, girl. That's great stuff. And did I see Ray Pryor said he brought the book? Ordering it now. All right. Ray, let me know what you think about the book. And I would love to see how you're going to use it to teach your students about money in the stock market. I would definitely love to talk to you about that. Carol, I live in Alabama and never read A.G. Gadsden's book. Sad. It's on my list. All right. Listen, Carol, A.G. was the man. Now, like I said, he bailed out Martin Luther King when he got locked up, when he was doing all his marching and protesting in Alabama, whether it be Montgomery or what was the other big city? Montgomery or Selma. He bailed him out. Said he was a troublemaker, but then he got to see his way of thinking too. So, Woo, I like this channel. You get financial information as well as history lessons. Well, I don't think you can not talk about money without talking about history, especially if you're Black. And just so happens that I'm Black. So, because there's a lot of reasons why Black people are in the position they are in now that are in history. And to really give true perspective to it through true light, you got to understand the history of it. Like, why are Black people for the most part scared of the stock market? We weren't allowed to invest in the stock market. If you read that book, Black Fortunes, and I know I talked about this last week because my friend Rich came on and we talked about it. There was a busing company in a suburb of Philadelphia called Darby. It was a Black-owned bus company in Darby. And they did very well. And they put a bunch of money in the stock market and did really, really well. But the only reason they were able to put money in the stock market, and this is around the 1910-ish time, 1900s, somewhere around there, but they had to find a white male proxy to invest in the stock market for them. So, It all goes hand in hand. It all goes hand in hand. You can't really have one without the other. Carol, my challenge is just, trying to make it relevant. Try not to be boring. Try not to bore y'all, put y'all to sleep. Have y'all laying on y'all pillows, drooling, making stains on y'all pillow sheets. So listen, I said 10 minutes. I am now 5 minutes over the mark. I got to go get some vittles, eat some food. So I don't see any more. Yeah, that's right. Miss Edith, you said I'm your mentor. Yeah, Alton. I mean, Malcolm X talked about that as societies that put women in great prominence typically are societies that do better overall. There's an interview about him floating around. I know I've shared it. I'm paraphrasing it, but I have to go back through that. If I had $1 billion, let me see. If you had $1 billion, what would you do to help the Black community in the United States? I like that question. Before I answer that question, Bray Bryans, are there any restrictions? Are there any restrictions? So so I'm just going to go and talk about that. LFA, all right, no restrictions. I would take a portion of that $1 billion, right? Because I don't have time to go through. Good night. Thank you, Edith. I appreciate you. It'll be realistic. I would take a portion of that, of those funds, and I would either partner with like a African Genesis, and I would take more youth to the continent so they can begin to learn who they are and where they come from. Because they don't just come from slaves, right? I'm in the U.S. I don't know where you are. Now, you already told me I don't have no restrictions, so now you saying it has to be in the U.S. though. Nah, we going to Africa. That's a portion of it. And then I would put more money into people going to college as well. And I would also help to build Saturday classes. Mind you, I haven't really talked anything about actual money, right? I'm getting to it. All of those things help to lead up to money. We have money in our community, right? We have $1.2 trillion in our community. A lot of times, though, we won't do trade in our community. What does that tell you? Or what does that tell us? That we don't have enough faith and belief and love for our community to do business with our community. Mind you, the reason why it's so important to do business with our community is because Maggie Anderson, this is another good book to read. I would get up and go get it, but I would have to get on camera. My Black Year by Maggie Anderson. My Black Year by Maggie Anderson is a story, and I've interviewed Maggie several times. It's a story of Maggie Anderson and her husband that live in Chicago. They tried to buy only Black for a year. Now, mind you, we're not talking about mortgage companies and utilities, but everything else. They had a hard time doing it. Hard time finding groceries, hard time finding gas stations. So why are the goods that the Black community consumes and uses, why can't we sell those? Or why are we not selling those? So a portion of it would go to doing Saturday schools, and then I would create a fund to fund Black businesses, to upstart businesses, because part of our problem is capital to a certain degree. I think that our bigger problem is marketing. Most Black businesses, because somebody was on earlier, and they talked about Black businesses and they're not being there. They don't know what any good Black businesses are. So I do think Black businesses have to do a better job at marketing, and not just to be a good Black business, but just be a great business that just so happens to be owned with Black owners or has Black ownership. But the business is so good that it's better than anybody. It's better than anybody. So I ain't see you comment, Bren. Did you, Bray? Did you Not like any of those. Oh, you know what, Ray? I'm sorry. You didn't say does it have to be in the United States. Melanated Alton said that. All right, I'm sorry. Courtney Sells Atlanta, how are you? So that's what I would do. I love that. I love that question though. So I probably could, let's say I'll take 50%. Like I said, I would sponsor more trips to Africa to promote self-love. I would definitely sponsor Saturday schools. So again, like Hebrews do Saturday schools, Chinese do Saturday schools. So not only to teach culture, but to also teach the other skills or other let's say skills, right? Math, science, anything else to go along with that. I could say start a political pact as well, because in order to really affect police brutality, we have to do a better job of being involved in politics. And many of us think politics is just voting, which is the furthest thing from the truth. But if you want to move police brutality, you got to do something political. Melanie Alton, I don't disagree with you, but at the end of the day, the business that carries the most risk is the business owner, right? So Melanie Alton says, well, I think that's up to us as well as to the market to market Black businesses. As they say, the best marketing is word of mouth. I agree. And Alton, if you text me, 484-278-1357, I have had a multitude of cash mobs, not by myself, but with other people. And if you all don't know what a cash mob is, it's when you get a minimum of 20 people together and go to a business and you spend $20. So 20 times 20, that's $400. So I've done several of those that have had way more than $20 spent by a person, or just more than 20 people that intended cash mobs. It wasn't intentionally done for Black businesses, but guess who I did it for? And again, it wasn't just me; it was me and other people. But for right now, since I'm the only one on, I'm talking about me. But I just want to make sure that it's not that it wasn't just me, right? A movement can't just be about one person. So 484-278-1357. I'm gonna send you an article. So what you said definitely resonated with me. 484-278-1357. I'm gonna send you an article about a cash mob I did. So I believe in helping Black business owners get the word out and help market their business. Very, very much so. However, it's their business. Their money's at risk. They get all the profit. So they shouldn't rely on me to do that work for them. I can come in and supplement, but it's just like, if you got a family, you got a household, yeah, I can give you a bag of groceries, but at the end of the day, it's your job to figure that out. And again, I'm not trying to sound cold-blooded. I'm just saying we all have to do our part. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Yeah, I mean, the idea of cash mobs is simple. Call 20 people up. Go to a Black-owned restaurant. And spend $20 at that Black-owned restaurant. Can't do it now because there's a lot of stay-in-place orders. However, maybe you can do a virtual cash mob. I thought about that. I just haven't had time to do it. But you can say, you know what? Let's go. Let's 20 of us, get together online and let's support this business. Lady Brand, how are you? And so in Philadelphia, a lot of people know me as being a great promoter of Black-owned businesses. I talk about it on the radio. I talk about it anywhere I go. Most definitely, I just feel that we'll promote a Popeye's chicken sandwich, but don't promote our own. But guess what? Who came up with the strategy for Popeye's chicken? It's a Black woman. And she understands social and she understands our community. But guess what? Like, everybody's so up in arms about this Popeyes, right? How many other brands? I mean, did y'all see Atlanta with the Jordan sale? By the way, Jordan doesn't own Jordan Brand. He does own a piece of Nike. I don't know how much, but Nike shareholders own Nike, which distributes Jordan. Nobody complains about that, though. Well, we complain about everything else. We complain about a lot of other things. I find it interesting about some of the things we select to complain about. But hey, I don't know. But listen, it's been fun. I've been on with y'all for almost 2 hours. It seems like 2 hours is the benchmark every week. So listen, do me a favor. Share this out with people. Share me with individuals who are looking to increase their financial IQ. I'm here every week, every Wednesday, 8 p.m. I do a lot of other programs throughout the week, but again, it's the Finance Rebel Show. Today is Wealthy Wednesdays. Wealthy Wednesday section is our Q&A. So anybody who has questions about money, finance, investments, tax, business, don't know where to turn, or worried if they call somebody up, they're going to get a bill, tell them to hit me up. Tell them to holler at me. Come check in with us on Wealthy Wednesdays. All right, folks? So everybody that was here with me tonight, thank you, thank you, thank you. To all my Cash App contributors, thank you, thank you, thank you. I am super duper grateful for all of that. But we'll be here next week and in other times throughout the week as well. So look out for more videos and more communication. And listen, again, if you want to increase your financial IQ and be around a group of people who are always talking about money, looking to increase their financial IQ, come on over to Facebook and join the Finance Rebel Academy. Join the Finance Rebel Academy. There's 3 questions you got to answer, though. That's my filtering process to filter out the bots and some of the crazies as much as I can. But you got to answer those 3 questions, and you come in and you start to build. All right, everybody. Everybody have a great night. Again, thank you all for joining, and I'll see you the next time I'm here. Have a great night. Bye-bye.